I want to start with the possibility that you are way stronger than you realize. And by strength, I mean that true strength is the strength that you access when you go inside yourself and find your connection to life. So then you're in, alignment with life, and life can flow through you, and true power can come from within and flow through you from without, so that you're kind of like walking in the natural power and strength of life. Okay? And now I want to contrast this with what I'm going to call this true strength. I'm going to contrast that with contrived strength, or maybe manufactured strength. And while true strength is we access it by going inside, manufactured or contrived strength is sought outside. It's external strength, and it's in the strength of having power over people and things. It could be, whatever, being able to control or manage or manipulate people, or power trips or gaslighting, or whatever. It could be whatever, power mongering type things. Okay. And so the challenge, and I would say, if I were to be a little dramatic, the crisis in our culture right now is we've mistaken, the contrived strength for true strength. Okay, we think that true strength is this contrived strength. So in a sense, we're allowing this, we're like empowering contrived strength, or I would even say weakness, because it's not connected to life. So in a sense, we're allowing the weak to control the strong. In some ways that we do this, you might find it's like maybe it's financial power that we worship, and possessions and affluence and having a nice house or a nice car. Maybe we think that's what power is. Or maybe it's like administrative power, like our boss or the hierarchy at work or whatever. Maybe that is what we think is power. It could be political power. It could be corporate power. And not that these aren't things, they are powers in a sense, but I would argue that they're not true power. And the problem with them is that they tend to be disconnected from life. Okay, they have their own agenda. Okay, they're not thinking what's best for the whole, best for the people. They're thinking what's best for them and their corporation or their whatever it is, And so that's the problem. So we have this crisis. We have this, what I would call maybe an inversion of power, where the weak are controlling the strong. And now let me contrast this with like an Aboriginal culture, okay? And if you think like a shamanic culture, perhaps. And so if you look at that, who leads? Okay, in our culture, we've got the weak leading the strong. Okay, now who leads? Is it, if you could say, the warrior? Okay, and the warrior had their place for sure, but the warrior might be the most physically strong, and they could like kick the butt of everyone else in the culture. They could kill the most people if you were at war. Okay, they had their place, but they weren't leading, typically anyway. They could be, but they weren't leading the people. Who was? It was the shaman, or it was the chief, or it was, maybe different of those led different things. It was the person that like sought a vision for the people. Okay, that he or she went on this vision quest, and they like, show me, the path for my people. Show me a vision for my people so I can lead them in a good way. They had consideration for the people, and that was their job. It wasn't, it wasn't the warrior society. Their job was consideration for what's best for the people, and they were the ones that were the leaders. Now, that isn't a bit not like how our culture is. So then the remaining questions get to be, like, why is it that the weak control the strong? And it has to be, the only thing I can come up with anyway, is that the strong allows the weak to control it. So by the strong, I'm talking to kind of, I started out with you're stronger than you realize. You likely have developed this connection with life, while other people were developing a were power in the world and power over things. You were, developing this connection to life. So what I'm saying is if you're the truly strong, okay, at least internally and in your connection, you have more abundance. That we are complicit in allowing the weak to control us. Now, that may be strong counsel, but it's important because if it's we are allowing it, we can change it. Okay, we can claim our power. So we have to realize how do we give away our power? How do we buy into this illusion of the weak controlling the strong, this illusion that these external power mongers do have the power? How do we buy into it? And so then the true inquiry gets to be, why do I allow the weak to control the strong? And that's something I would challenge you to inquire about. Some possibilities might be that you were conditioned to do that. As a little kid, you may have been in your power in that you were connected to life, and yet you were reliant and dependent upon, your parents and teachers and adults who may or may not have been, in their true power. And so then you just got in the habit of, for your survival, you needed to when you were a little kid, you got in the habit of giving them your power and letting them be the leaders. Okay, but now that you're adult, you're no longer dependent on them physically. So now it just is a habit and a conditioned pattern, perhaps. Another thing it could be, it could be what I call misguided compassion, or it could be, codependency, in where we maybe we're protecting the people that are in power in our family or in our relationship or in our community. We don't have the heart to just tell them that they're not as strong as they think they are, because we see the fear in their eyes, because, it's usually underneath that contrived power or strength, there's an insecurity. So when we start empowering ourselves, we see the fear and we back off. So we let them be the king of the castle or the man of the house. We let them be the bully or the abuser or, whatever else, and so that may be what it is. The other thing it might be fear. Okay, it might be the fear that if I'm in my power and I start leading from power, that maybe, I'll be shunned or I'll be abandoned. Maybe my relationship won't survive. Maybe my community or my church won't allow me to be in it. Maybe my family, will not, I won't be in higher standing, or they might kick me out. Maybe my parents, won't talk to me. Maybe my siblings won't talk to me. Maybe my kids won't allow me to see my grandparents anymore. Grandchildren anymore. Let's try that. Or it could be grandparents too, I guess. But anyway, so maybe it's fear-based. But whatever it is, I challenge you to kind of find that is, because our world, it needs the truly strong to be leaders. Okay, the world needs you to lead it. Spirit needs you to be an ambassador of true strength and to lead and to kind of reclaim the power, for our people. So that is my video for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy your week and that you just consider, in your life, do you see the weak controlling the strong? And how can you claim your power and start leading from a place of connection and beauty? And I will see you in a week.